I want to talk about that Northridge Fix video that came out like maybe a couple days ago. If you're new here, my name is Chase and I own a repair shop near Detroit, Michigan. Why repair shops are closing. He talks about Soren with Electronics Repair School, Louis Rossmann, iPad Rehab, TCRS Circuits, and Northridge Fix. Now I did watch Alex's video. When I refer to Alex, I'm talking about Northridge Fix. I've known Alex for some time. I would say I've started watching his channel roughly maybe 2018, 2019. I used to be a huge fan of his videos, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't be in the position I am today without a lot of them. So Alex does deserve some credit for that. But the problem that I have with this video is there's actually a couple of different things I want to touch on. Number one is the closure of electronics repair shops. Electronic repair shops are based on skill and their ability to fix and solve devices. Electronic repair has always been a hobby for me, and I've always wanted to try to make a business surrounding it. Back in 2012 or 13, I started getting into like mod chips and game consoles and things like that. Was offering like services on Facebook and Craigslist when that was popular. But when it comes to these repair shops that are closing, you have to have a good owner that knows how to be good with money, knows how to invest in their company and in their employees. And you have to have good technicians that know what they're doing. So when the problems do come, technicians can solve it. Now, I did look into TCRS Circuits. I watched like a handful of his videos. I wasn't super familiar. I feel like I had come across his channel at one point or another. And to be honest, I have nothing bad to say about it. In fact, he's probably better than me, and that's totally cool. Here's the big thing. Northridge Fix brought up a point about these creators talking specifically about TCRS Circuits, Paul Daniels, and other channels like even iPad Rehab, that they are at this amount of subscribers, where there was like TCRS Circuits was at like maybe 12 or 13,000, Paul Daniels 41,000, iPad Rehab at like 175,000, barely getting views and things like that. Northridge Fix made the claim that these channels are failing. Here's the problem as a YouTuber and all of this that's going into this. There are a lot of people that talk about this, but not necessarily in our niche, and I'm gonna make a point here. As a YouTuber with a little bit of backing, I can explain a little bit about what Northridge Fix is talking about as far as failing channels. And then I'll get into why I disagree with him, because I mostly do. And it's not that I disagree with him, it's that I disagree with the way that he's gone about this. Now, I suck at long form content. I try to do my best, but it doesn't always pan out. But short form, I have done a couple of different videos that have gone viral, and there's a reason why they went viral. In Louis Rossmann's video, he talks about hitting this algorithmic lottery. Like, for instance, himself and some other creators have gotten a large amount of subscribers because their videos are shared and then they get a lot of views and people subscribe, etc. But the problem that I have with that is if you make a good video, the video will pop off. Realistically, to make a good video is you absolutely have to start with the idea. The idea has to be good, and it has to be so good that it's just like when somebody scrolls past your video, that they're sitting in bed, it's 3 a.m. and they have to go to bed, and then they see the video and they're like, I cannot sleep unless I watch this video. That's amazing, okay? Whether it's your title and your thumbnail or if it's a short. I mean, how often are we scrolling through our phones on the shorts and we see one that's just like, I literally have to watch to the end because I need to know what happens. So the most important things to actually get clicks is your title and thumbnail. That's for long form videos in specific, a little bit for shorts, but I'm not gonna go too in depth with shorts. But storytelling is one of the biggest parts of getting your videos more traction on YouTube, because when YouTube sees that a viewer clicks, the click-through rate, it shows that video is shown to people, which is called impressions, and then people click on it, which is your click-through rate, and it will basically say how many people clicked versus how many people it was shown to, and then that gives you a percentage on the click-through rate. And then there is viewer retention, and it shows a graph of what point in the video or what point in time did that person click off that video. And so if you keep the viewer watching for longer, then you win, because YouTube is now going to show that video to more people, more impressions, more clicks, more views, more retention, and it's a snowball effect, and then it just blows up. So in September of 2024, I had about 7,500 subscribers, doing the exact same thing that I've always done. But then I had an idea. I think it was actually late August, so correction there. So in August, I had this idea to use an entire tube of flux on a motherboard. Now, I know Louis Rossmann always talks about the perfect amount of flux, and I totally agree with him because I like to use a lot of flux on my electronic repairs. But I had this idea to act on those intrusive thoughts thoughts, where I use an entire tube of flux. And then I took that video and I story told with it. I started off sort of towards the middle of the video, and then I brought it back to the beginning and said, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to use an entire tube of flux on this motherboard, and we're going to replace this part. Now I've hooked the viewer in the beginning. Now then I begin the story explaining what we're doing. What does a board do when you have an entire tube of flux on the board when you're heating it up? That video is now the biggest video on my channel as of right now. It has 3.2 million views. So to bring it back around, Northridge Fix in his first video said, these YouTubers don't try, therefore they don't get customers, they don't get viewers, and their business fails. That's the reason their business is failing. But I 100% disagree, especially after watching Louis Rossman's video talking about Jessica Jones with her iPad rehab business and how she's doing forensics data recovery with government agencies. I'm not going to get into it too much because I'm not super familiar with it, but this just goes to show that YouTube can be its own personal, I want to say like diary, but like that sort of thing where it's like YouTube, I mean, even if you get a minute amount of exposure, it can still take you places that you didn't think you would go. And just because TCRS Circuits is not popular on YouTube, like as far as subscribers and views go, does it really mean that he's not doing well with his business? Everyone knows that if you have a business, you can be successful without YouTube. I know a lot of businesses that do not have YouTube channels that are still successful. So success is not measured by the amount of views and subscribers that you have. If your goal is to get a lot of views and a lot of subscribers, then I will say that it isn't necessarily an algorithmic lottery that it will get you there. The way that you design your videos and storytell is actually what matters the most. Now let's talk about Electronics Repair School, or Soren. Now Soren, you don't know me. I don't know if you're gonna watch this video. It's not a big deal if you don't, but I do want to say thank you, because I found Soren back, this was probably in late 2021, 2022. Maybe it was even before then. But I had found his video because I had a MacBook Pro 2011, and I wasn't like super good back then, but I had and it was my personal one, but the power button did not work, and it was a part of the keyboard. Well, I had looked online, and I ended up finding Soren's video where he took his MacBook Pro 2011, whether it was his or a customer's, and he said, instead of replacing the keyboard, we could just run a jumper from the power button to the keyboard connector on the motherboard. Well, I followed his instructions, and I had a working 2011 MacBook Pro at the time before the GPU died. So Soren, thank you for that. Now, as far as Soren's videos go, sometimes I will literally just put Soren's video on and just let it play. I'll just listen to it because he has a vast amount of knowledge to share on electronics repair. It's incredible. I love Soren's approach to it. The way I look at Soren's videos is almost like a podcast. So if you just want to like chill and you just want to learn and you just want to like absorb, you watch Soren, because he's going to give that to you. If you want to watch Louis Rossman, well, Louis doesn't really make repair videos all that often anymore, but Louis really kind of just gives us the tea on what's going on in the world of right to repair and things like that, which I appreciate. Jessica Jones still makes videos about repairing different issues with iPhones and exploring and troubleshooting. And you have so many different creators making different videos on different topics and different niches. Alex, when you're talking about these channels and that they're failing and they're not getting the views, I understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, not everybody's success in life is based around how many views they get and how successful X, Y, or Z is. Sometimes they just want to chill, man. Sometimes they just want to make videos, put them up there, and just let them roll. It's therapeutic. That's the best way I can put it. Yeah, Louis Rossman talked about that. So it's therapy for him. He can post a video and just let it ride, and he gets his feelings out, whatever. You know, he feels better afterwards. So do I. I like being able to just talk to a camera, get what I'm feeling out, and just let it ride. Sometimes it gets views, sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes when I'm like, okay, I really want to create a short that goes viral, I really want to get some views, so I'll put some time into it. I'll try to create a story, find a problem, and I'll try to fix it or whatever. Success is not measured on how many views you get on YouTube. Success in your life is all about what you want. Do you want a lot of views? Do you want a lot of subscribers? I've heard this saying before. Some people say $60,000 a year is great money. Some people say $60,000 a month is bad money. And some people say $60,000 a day is bad money. It is all about your perspective. But if you want views and subscriptions, there is a way, and it isn't just an algorithmic lottery. I think there is a little bit of luck involved. Do not get me wrong, but I do not think it is completely luck-based.